We've moved to the regulation phase here. Subsidies are pretty much out of the question. Judging from what I've been seeing, the municipalities' reaction to these scooters being dumped on their sidewalks, I think at this point it's either regulate or ban the things.
Well, yeah, and we've seen both already. As I understand it, San Francisco has banned these because they're scared of them. You know, this is a real good example of the difference between the free market and government. We have entrepreneurs who are meeting an obvious demand. People like this mode of transportation. It's easier to get around than walking. You don't have to pay Uber and so forth. But from the government's perspective, this is a problem. They don't know what to do with it. The stories about this are really interesting. The city councils are wringing their hands. They see this as some sort of new menace. And in fact, if they did nothing, if they did absolutely nothing, this problem, whatever problems there are, would get solved on their own. People would figure it out. But instead, they try to figure out, well, how are we going to regulate it? Should we make them wear helmets? Should we have special scooter lanes and so forth?
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, like with Uber, you'll see them, you know, mess around and probably hamstring, which is a thriving business right now.
I think these municipalities look at it as tantamount to free market littering of some kind, these scooters on the sidewalk. Beverly Hills is one of those municipalities that's chosen to heavily regulate, probably on the slope toward banning. Beverly Hills and all of Southern California getting a bit of a shock in the real estate industry right now. I hate to use the word crash. Some people are using the word crash over this, but certainly a slowdown in real estate sales.
Yeah, California, I think, is experiencing it more, but there was just a report out that nationwide sales are down a little bit. The housing market has softened somewhat. It's interesting, though, in California that, well, the combination of things. One is high prices, and two, rising interest rates.
Right.
You know, so people are probably holding on to their homes because why not? The value's going up, and buying a new home means probably paying a higher interest rate. So that might explain some of it. You know, California is also a very unique situation because it's so hard to build a new house there. And if you do build one, you have to put solar panels on the roof and meet all these other requirements. Yeah. So it's expensive to do so. And so you can see a very tight market there. And a lot of, you know, basically a lot of people priced out of the market because suppliers aren't able to meet demand.
Median price home, $600 and something thousand. I don't know how young home buyers ever enter the housing market, but we have to remember California is a bellwether state when it comes to items like real estate. The Democrat plan, the Democrat economic plan, I chuckle because there really isn't one. Essentially, I look at it this way, John. If you liked Jimmy Carter, you'll love the Democrat plan.
I hadn't thought of it, but yeah, that's a good way to put it. Jimmy Carter Redux. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, Steny Hoyer was bragging about how he spent a year listening to America. They went on a listening tour all across America. And guess what? They came back with basically the same stuff that Democrats always propose. What's interesting about this plan, though, is that there's only 3 areas he talks about: job skills, entrepreneurship, and infrastructure. And by the way, Donald Trump is making progress in all 3 areas.
Right.
He just signed an executive order on job skills, trying to get the billions of dollars the government spends on job training to actually do something rather than waste taxpayer money. He wants to reorganize government to align education and labor so that they have a common goal. And on infrastructure, of course, he proposed a bold plan which Democrats scoffed at. And on entrepreneurship, the best way to help entrepreneurs is to do what Trump has already done, which is cut taxes and cut regulations.
Right.
So they really don't have a lot to offer, which is probably why socialists in the party are taking over, because they're offering a bunch of free stuff right now.
Steny Hoyer is also talking about increasing the minimum wage, which is also one of the favorites of Jimmy Carter, and we know how that one turned out. John, thanks.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.